Earlier this year, a South Florida forensic team dug for clues about the mysterious past at a reform school in Marianna. The Arthur C. Dozier School for Boys was shut down 2 years ago.
News 4's Matthew McClellan went beyond the gates for an exclusive look inside. He joins us now in our studio. And Matthew, I can imagine just your experience there was somewhat kind of surreal.
You know, Tessa, I really didn't know what to expect when I first went in. I think the thing that stands out immediately is the size of that campus at 159 acres. You can imagine what it must have been like when it was home to hundreds of teenagers and children.
Secrets don't stay a secret.
Dozens of unmarked graves.
We have their names and ages and a little bit of an understanding of who they were. Now to start to narrow that down because of the date of death and also his age.
Allegations of forced labor, abuse, and worse.
We went through living hell here in Marianna.
Most of the men coming forward were there in the 1950s and 60s, but people have been speaking out about the school for more than 100 years.
Boys were beaten and raped and molested. Boys were killed, burned up in the incinerator. Boys were beaten to where they had to be sutured up by the doctor. There was body parts seen in the hog slop pen. I mean, it was horrible.
The Dozier Reform School opened in 1903. It was where troubled boys went for fighting, stealing cars, smoking, and even skipping school.
The one threat to us is children were, if you don't behave, we're going to send you to that farm school.
This is the building known as the White House. It's where some former inmates say they were beaten with a leather strap until they were unconscious. Some even claim there were boys who didn't make it out alive.
There's going to be a lot of bodies found.
The Florida Department of Law Enforcement conducted an investigation in 2010. It uncovered 31 bodies at the school. In December of 2012, the University of South Florida found 50 bodies, 19 more than the FDLE's investigation. Administrators claim the graves are those of boys who became sick with disease. That discrepancy is what brings Erin Kimmerly and her team to Marianna.
Maybe this. We've uncovered bone and teeth, coffin hardware, remnants of wood from the coffin. So it's well preserved, and on the first individual, we are even able to estimate his age is probably 10 to 13 years old.
Identifying bodies from a list of boys who went missing.
I want the families to retrieve the bodies of their loved ones. I think that's most important.
We need closure.
Closure for themselves and the families of the boys whom they never saw again. The University of South Florida team has a year-long permit to dig at Dozier. As more bodies are uncovered, the former inmates say they hope to prevent experiences like theirs from happening to other children.
Wow, Matthew, thank you for that look. And then tomorrow on News 4 at 6, we're going to explore another side of this story.
We're going to be hearing from what longtime Marianna residents have to say about the now defunct school. Marianna and Jackson County, Florida residents shed new light on a dark past. Yesterday, we told you about abuse allegations and murder speculation at a reform school for boys in Marianna. News 4's Matthew McClellan met with some longtime residents. And Matt, do they believe that there's more to this story?
You know, Reg, locals say the rumors surrounding the Dozier School are just that, rumors. They say the school boosted the local economy and gave at-risk teenagers a second chance.
Dozier School doesn't define Marianna. We just happen to be where the school is located.
We had a great school here, and it served a lot of people. All they want to do is dig up something that would destroy all the good that that school has done.
Negative attention has hung over the Dozier School like a dark cloud.
Our community got put on spotlight because there's a conglomeration of boys in one place, and it was a state school.
A state school that gained a reputation for brutal punishment and harsh living conditions. But some locals find those accusations hard to believe, including Kenneth Stoudemeyer, who mentored some of the boys at Dozier.
There's a possibility that there was some abuse, but it would have had to have been extremely small and isolated.
They say false claims and bad press have overshadowed their small community and the good that came out of Dozier.
They had programs that helped the young man give him a sense of need, and a sense of purpose, and a sense of importance. growing your own food, raising cows and hogs and a sawmill and running laundries and all those things. It was a great program. They were basically almost self-sufficient for a long time.
Was it forced labor or learning a trade? It was inside workhouses like these that the boys learned plumbing, bricklaying, and carpentry.
Guy learned how to lay bricks at Dozier School. He was so proud of the trade that he had learned. I never heard him put down the school. He ended up being one of the best bricklayers, and he had learned that craft at Dozier School.
But residents say the impact went far beyond improving behavior and teaching life skills. To them, at its peak, Dozier was the lifeblood of the town.
It was a good economic boost to the community. It provided jobs.
Most of that money spent where? Right here in Marianna.
Businesses that depended on hundreds of faculty and staff members. Elmore Bryant's BP gas station was one of them.
When that thing closed, it knocked the dent in us.
As for the ongoing grave excavation,
The body's been there all the time. They're trying to find a problem when in reality there might have been one or two isolated cases, but nothing to the degree that they've gone to.
whatever the outcome of the dig, the town of Marianna is ready for the conversation to shift.
It's an embarrassment for the whole community because the truth is nobody knows. And when it's all said and done, after they spend $2 or $3 million, they're still not going to know.
I wanted it to be over. You can't bring things to closure by covering it over and covering over.
Now, the forensics team from the University of South Florida completed the second phase of that excavation at the end of October. They have not yet announced a date on when they'll be back in Marianna. Reg.
All right, Matthew, thanks a lot. Now, for decades, families drove from around the region every Christmas to see the lights that once decorated the Dozier campus.